When tracing the history of religion, some suggest that humanity began in the darkness of polytheism, with progress over time leading gradually toward the light of monotheism. However, the true Quranic version proclaims that humanity began in the full light of truth. God's first creation was the first recipient of divine truth, which showed him the right way of life. For a time, humanity followed this right path and lived as one community. Over time, people invented new ways, not because truth was unknown to them, but because some willfully sought illegitimate privileges. This behavior led to injustice, prompting God to send prophets. The prophets were not sent to found new religions in their own names, but to illuminate the truth that had been lost and to unite people as one community again. So let's listen to a simple understanding, close to its translation of verse 213 of chapter 2, after we do our required supplication. I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. In the beginning, mankind followed one single way. Later on, this state ended and differences arose. Then Allah sent forth prophets as heralds of good tidings for the righteous and as warners against the consequences of evil doing. He sent down with them the book embodying the truth so that it might judge among people in their disputes. And those who innovated divergent ways rather than follow the truth were none other than those who had received the knowledge of the truth and clear guidance, and they did so to commit excesses against each other. So by His leave, Allah directed the believers to the right way in matters on which they disagreed. Allah guides whomsoever He wills onto a straight way. Next, verses 214 to 18 of the Quran's second chapter, Al-Baqarah, address trials faced by believers, the proper recipients of charity, the commandment to fight for justice, and the punishment for apostasy. Verse 214, do you suppose that you will enter paradise untouched by the suffering endured by the people of faith who passed away before you? They were afflicted by misery and hardship and were so convulsed that the messenger and the believers with him cried out, when will Allah's help arrive? They were assured, behold, Allah's help is close by. In between this verse and the one above comes a whole story which has been left untold, a story which is alluded to in the present verse and which is mentioned in some detail in the Makkan surahs of the Quran. These were revealed earlier than the present surah. The point emphasized here is that whenever the prophets came into the world, they and their followers were confronted with severe resistance from those in rebellion against God. At grave risk to themselves, they strove to establish the hegemony of the true religion over the false ways of life. To follow this religion has, therefore, never been easy. It is not merely a matter of declaring one's faith and then sitting back in ease and comfort. On the contrary, the profession of faith has always demanded that one should strive to establish the religion, which one has adopted as one's faith, as a living reality, and that one should spare no effort in undermining the power of the devil who seeks to resist it. Next, verse 215. People ask you what they should spend. Say, whatever wealth you spend, let it be for your parents and kinsmen, the orphans, the needy, and the wayfarer. Allah is aware of whatever good you do. Next verse, 2:16, addresses situations when war becomes a necessity to survive. It says, fighting is ordained upon you and it is disliked by you. It may well be that you dislike a thing even though it is good for you, and it may well be that you like a thing even though it is bad for you. Allah knows, and you do not know. Next verse, 2:17. People ask you about fighting in the holy month. Say, fighting in it is an awesome sin, but barring people from the way of Allah, disbelieving in Him, and denying entry into the holy mosque and expelling its inmates from it are more awesome acts in the sight of Allah, and persecution is even more heinous than killing. They will not cease fighting against you till they turn you from your religion, if they can. So remember well that whoever from amongst you turns away from his religion and dies in the state of unbelief, their work will go to waste in this world and in the next. They are destined for the fire, and it is there that they will abide. We continue to next verse 2:18. On the contrary, those who believed and forsook their hearth and home and strove in the way of Allah, such may rightly hope for the mercy of Allah, for Allah is all forgiving, all merciful. Jihad denotes doing one's utmost to achieve something. It is not the equivalent of war, for which the Arabic word is qital. Jihad has a wider connotation and embraces every kind of striving in God's cause. A mujahid is a person who is single-mindedly devoted to his cause, who uses his mental capacity to reflect how best he can achieve it, propagates it by word of mouth and by the pen, uses his physical energy in striving to serve it, spends all the resources at his disposal to promote it, employs all the force he commands in confronting any power which might stand in its way, and whenever necessary, does not shirk risking his very life for it. All this is jihad. Jihad in the way of God is that strife, as explained above, in which a person engages exclusively to win God's good pleasure, to establish the supremacy of his religion, and to make his word prevail.